Hello? Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we got everybody in here. All right, well, I was going to wait like 4 more minutes to be like super fashionably late. Those that know me know that that's kind of the trademark. So anyways, hey guys, thank you guys all so much for coming. Typically we let this turn into a big, long, drawn-out deal, and I'll try not to do that to you, but this is a project that is very, very, very near and dear our hearts here at Drag Illustrated, so I do want to spend a little bit of time, and holy cow, we have a big crowd, and I want you guys all to know it really means the world to me that you guys all came out to do this. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and events piled on top of one another, so thank you all so much. And those of you who are still with us after Drag Illustrated After Hours last night, shout out to our friends at Dodge. Thank you guys all so much for fighting that fight with us. Apologies in advance for next year, because it's only going to get worse. So anyways, again, thank you guys all so much for coming. The Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 is a project that we kind of stumbled upon a few years ago, and I'll tell you a quick story. I grew up, drag racing is all I've ever done, and I'll try to tell this story as quickly as I can, but when I was growing up, a lot of kids played football, they played baseball, and I looked around, and I remember going to school all through, grade school and high school, and I didn't go to college, so I can't say college. But anyways, all through school, I remember looking around, and all the cool kids, they all had Letterman's jackets, and they played football, and they were in the cool clique, and all that different thing. And all I did was go drag racing with my dad. And all of my friends were 45 and 50, and I was 12. And it was a real awkward thing, because I looked around and I always felt like an outsider, right? And my lingo and my vocabulary was much different than all the other kids around me. And it was I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I look back and I wish, one of the things that I think our sport's lacking is that we needed to be cool to be a hot rodder. We needed to be cool to be a drag racer, a car guy. And unfortunately, when I look back at history, I feel like I kind of missed that time, right? I missed the American graffiti days when the cool guys had fast cars, right? Whenever I was a senior in high school, I had an S10 pickup with an aluminum-headed small block, right? And a 700 R4 overdrive transmission thing ran 1090s, and a quarter mile was pretty fast street car, bench seat, column shifter. I drove this thing to school every day, had a quadrijet on it. All the cool, I was the weirdo, right? They're like, that thing is obnoxiously loud. What is wrong with that thing? Is it gonna, what's wrong? The cool kids had Mitsubishi Eclipse convertibles, and I look around and I think what's happened now is the cool kids have Priuses, electric cars, evil cars. It's very, very, very interesting, and I really think that's a problem that we've got to address. And one of the things we're trying to do with the Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 is shine a light on these young men and women that are fighting that same fight that I did. They're comfortable being the odd man out in class and in life. And drag racing, as many of you know, wherever you're at on the totem pole of this sport, whether it's in a junior dragster, whether it's in a top fuel car, a pro stock car, drag racing is hard, right? You lose way more than you win. And it's a very trying sport. It's extremely expensive. It's an emotional roller coaster. And when I look around and see all these young people who have chosen to do this, and parents that have invested in their kids and chosen to walk this walk with them, it literally makes me swell with pride and joy, and it warms my heart. And I want to make sure that those young people and their parents know that someone cares, knows that someone is paying attention, someone is very proud of them, and we want to reward them and shine a light on them. And I think that it's actually, as much as this is a privilege for me and my team, and I kind of skip shouting them out, but our huge and ever-growing team, which we could not do this without, it's a duty, really, to make sure that these kids feel good about what they're doing and make sure that they know someone notices it and they're part of a clique, right? They're part of a really elite, up-and-coming, fast-growing group of people. And I think that I'd like to challenge all of you. So when you see a junior dragster, I know every one of us in here have done it. We have to admit it. We've been like, what are they doing running those things? We got to hurry up. It's going to rain in a couple hours. What's going on? Don't do that. Walk up and fist bump those kids, because I don't know about you, but the way my dad talked to me when I went racing with my old man, it was not that much fun most of the time, screaming and, what are you doing? Red light? What are we doing? I'll sell all this stuff. And it happened hundreds and hundreds of times, and I know that's happened. So when you see those young kids, you walk up and you fist bump them, you rub their helmet. We need them so bad to think to want to do this for a long time, right? It's so important. It's so important. So before we get into the list, I just want to challenge each one of you as you walk out of here to recognize that there are young people. I mean, there are people in our sport that think there's a problem, right? That they think there aren't new kids coming up, that there's not a new Brandon Bernstein, there's not going to be a new Alan Johnson, there's not going to be a new Jason Scruggs, there's not going to be a new Greg Anderson. Well, that is not true. They're here. Many of them are in this room, and we have to just keep encouraging them because they're probably not going to make any money, right? They're probably not going to, this is a rough go of it. You know, they're going to spend and struggle and struggle. So it is paramount that we encourage these kids and push them along and do what we're trying to do here. And this is part of it. I mean, this is part of the experience of being part of this group is to be in this room with all these people and feel the energy, right? And it's so important we keep this thing going for forever. So when you see these guys walking around and you see someone, even there's thousands of kids. We had 7,000 nominations for this deal, right? Wow. 7,000. So it's to weed out that list. And I got like 10 times last night, I thought like, uh-oh, this is going to go south. Someone wanted to know why someone wasn't on the list. And there's a lot of things that go into this. And I want you guys to know this is not a popularity contest, right? Despite what anybody might put on Facebook, you know, where all the real, true information is. This is not a popularity contest. We pore over this list and we look at silly things. We look at people's Facebook and we see like, oh, F word. That's not a great ambassador for the sport of drag racing. That's not someone that I want to shine a light on, unfortunately. And I see, you know, kids, a lot of times I had a guy last night all upset because his 22-year-old son didn't make it on the list. And I said, hey, he's 22. He's got 8 more years to make it. I've had a dozen guys on this list that are 27, 28, 29. We've got to get them on here now. I want to reward them now. So just know that even if you don't always agree with who we pick, you don't understand, just know that we may not always nail it, but we are surely trying. And hey, this isn't the only way to shine a light on these kids. If you think we missed someone, hey, pick up the slack for us. Give them a helmet. Buy their gas for the year. Buy them a barrel of fuel. Help them. Give them some free parts. Give them a torque converter. So there's a lot of ways to do this. And before I go into the actual list, I do want to give a shout out. For the first time ever, somehow, some way, we've never really even tried to seek out a sponsor for this deal or anything like that because I would do it if it cost us everything we had. We're going to do this, but I wanted to try to, just like with our party, having Dodge, a powerhouse brand like that associated with our party, it just makes it cooler, right? I mean, it's like, it just makes it legit. It adds a big name brand to the deal, a Fortune 100 company or whatever. So in 2018, as we started to lay the plans for this deal, I started to look around the industry and I go, who's some people we can get involved with this? And I do just want to give a quick shout out to Eddie Moore. If you want to come up here at ZP Performance and I Did It Brands, they reached out to us and they said, hey, we don't know you. We don't know a lot about what you guys are doing, but we found out about the 30 under 30 and we want to be a part of it because we believe in taking care of these kids and doing something to ensure that they feel good about the time they spend going drag racing. So I just want to introduce Eddie, give him a round of applause, and I Did It in ZP. Thank you so much, man.
So, yeah, this is a huge crowd. No, that's a good thing. I mean, that shows how important this is. I mean, we're honored to be part of it, 30 under 30. I also have keep it short and sweet. You know, it's about you guys. I do have a special prize for all the inductees. If you guys want to see me over there after the show, I guess. Yeah, keep driving. You know, it's important. Thanks.
Cammy, that helped us make this happen. Thank you guys so much, man, very much. And I would ask all of you guys, and I'm not up here, you know, asking for handouts. We don't want anything. But if you see one of these kids, or if you want a copy of this list and you want to give them a barrel of fuel, you want to give them something, anything, a sticker, do it. I challenge you to do it. I mean, there is no possible way that this won't be a fantastic investment for you. And I mean, we don't need anything. We just want you to take care of these young people because, again, from the bottom of my heart, we have to. This is what's next. If we don't take care of these people, I mean, everybody's heard the doom and gloom, right? Well, we don't believe in that here. I mean, I get made fun of a lot of times for wearing rose-colored glasses and like being unrealistically optimistic. But that's fine. I'm completely comfortable in that role because I believe that we can speak our future into existence. I've done it. I went to college for 14 days, guys. I walked in there and I go, all right, this is not for me. I think I'm going to go back to the racetrack. And that's where I've been ever since. And I'll tell you that I can't, it's young, old, black, brown, white, purple, yellow. I'm so proud. Man, woman. I go to the drag races and I see the salt of the earth. It is unbelievable. We have no drama in our sport. I remember being in Valdosta, Georgia earlier this summer. It was one of the, I'm going to tell another story. It was one of the proudest moments of my life. I was doing one of my patented live selfie video deals, right? The silliest thing that kind of really took off. But anyways, doing this silly video down in Valdosta, Georgia, we were sitting around a table, me and like a group of guys, right? The national anthem comes on, right? And this is South Georgia, right? You know what I mean? It's a diverse crowd, young, old, and everything in between. Silence. Every one of us stood up. We stopped recording. You know what I mean? Well, actually, we let it roll because I thought, like, this is a moment we need to capture, you know? Everybody stood up, paid tribute to this great country we live in, and it was just like, I'm looking around, I'm like, this is like just such a perfect example of how incredible this industry is. And I thought about it, it has nothing to do with race cars. It has nothing to do with burnouts. It has nothing to do with dragsters or a door car guy or a foot brake guy or a junior dragster guy. This community is comprised of the most incredible people that I've ever been around. And it's just, I've said this since we started the magazine 12 years ago. You'll notice on the cover of the magazine, shout out Blake Alexander, looking good, played along. And there's something to learn from Blake, so you guys know. Not a whole lot of people like getting their picture taken, right? But we try to tell these guys, like, you gotta play along, right? Don't make us take a picture of you next to your car in the staging lanes or whatever. Act the part, right? Play along, dive into this, do interviews, post on your social media, try to play the part as best you can, because that's honestly, like, fake it till you make it, right? You know, and it's so true. All those cliches are true. And I just want to say that from day one, our mission with Drag Illustrated magazine, and I challenge you to find one. I can't believe somehow, some way, I didn't know how we were going to get number 2 done, but my boys over here just sent 140, I think, to print, or 139 issues of this magazine we've done. And thank you. And I'm blessed beyond belief because I am surrounded by, it speaks to the point I'm trying to make here in kind of a convoluted fashion, but people are so important, and I am blessed beyond means to be surrounded by incredible people. But what I want to say is that we've been trying since day one to put faces to the names in vinyl on those Lexan windows, right? I remember going into the sport of drag racing back then, 2006, and I go, man, people don't even know what Jason Scruggs looks like. Everybody knows that he's got a red split window 63 Corvette with a 400 small block in it that'll run 3s, right? But no one knows what the man looks like, you know? And I thought, man, there's a whole lot more cool people than Tony Schumacher. I mean, he's all right. Is he here? But there's a whole lot more cool people than John Force and Tony Schumacher. I mean, there's so many incredible people in the sport of drag racing. I want everybody to know them, and I want to make that point that the people make the difference. We gotta put them out front. Secondly, I believe truly that fast cars, big burnouts, all these things, side-by-side competition. What's the other things, right? Fierce competition, whatever. Those things may be what brought us to the racetrack that first time. 10,000 horsepower, 300 miles per hour, right? That may be what brought us to the racetrack, but what brings us back are the people, right? When I look forward to going to the racetrack, I've seen plenty of burnouts. I've seen every good race. I've been blessed to see a ton of records set and tons of historic moments. I look forward to going and seeing Tommy Franklin, Jim Hughes. I look forward to going and seeing my homies. All my buddies, right? They're all there. We all care about the same things. We all believe in the same things, and I encourage you guys to double down on that. People are the most important part of this whole deal. Shine a light on these young folks, and I better read this list before we run out of time. So, all right. So here is our 2018. What do you call it, Nate? The Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 Class of 2018. So, and again, I'll go through the list here, and then we'll give them all a round of applause. And at the end, guys, I'd love for all of you to come up here and join me with Eddie and the guys from I Did It. We'll get some photos and stuff, and then we'll get the heck out of here. So, out front, of course, Blake Alexander, Corey Galletti, Jordan Ensling, Matthew DeYoung, Tyler Bohannon, Cam Clark, Jake Simmons, Brandon Greco, David Eisenhower, Nicole Liberty, Kyle Lang, Cole Rakoski, Madison Ash, Jimmy Plimpton Jr., Justin Hutto, Santo Jr. and Santino Reposarda, Jake Howard, Sadie Glenn, Daniel Young, Edmund and Caleb Ellison, Jake Sanders, Rachel Meyer, Camry Caruso, Mike Decker III, Andy Schmall, Ashley Pritchett, Charles Myers, Chris Whitfield, and Marina Anderson. Everybody give them a round of applause, please. Closing notes, my friends. The thing that I'm the most proud of about all of this is the diversity of that whole deal, right? One of the things that we noticed when we came into drag racing back in 2005 or 6 or whatever it was that I felt, this is a weird word to use, but I'm going to use it anyways, the sport of drag racing kind of felt segregated, right? You had the radio guys, right? And you had the streetcar guys, right? And you got the dragster guys, and the nitro guys. No one likes the nitro guys, right? And you got the pro mod guys, and you got the bracket racers who don't like anybody, right? And then you got junior dragsters. You got all these pockets, right? And I thought, why do we all go our separate ways? We are one community. And there was no magazine, there was no independent. I always tell people, imagine stick and ball sports with no Sports Illustrated, right? The Cubs have a magazine, the Cardinals have a magazine, the Dodgers have a magazine. It'd be terrible, right? Someone's got to be looking at the whole picture, caring about the whole thing. And I truly believe a high tide lifts all boats. What's good for drag radio racing is probably good for pro mod racing or for sportsman racing and everything in between. So just keep that in mind, guys. We are one big community and we all need to be swimming the same direction. I spoke this morning, and I can't believe my voice is still going, but I spoke at a pro mod deal this morning about rules and about all these different organizations, and the point I want to make to them is, and I know this is a bit of a pipe dream, but bear with me. If we could all be swimming the same direction, if we can all be working the same way, and we're gonna have to go kind of our own way to get there, right? At different times, you know, everybody, we all have businesses to run, we all have things to think about, but if we're all kind of shooting for the same thing, we're all swimming in the same direction, I believe drag racing, I'm gonna get mad. Drag racing is the great American motorsport. Do you understand me? Everybody's drag raced. Everybody with a driver's license has pulled up to a stoplight and said, not this time, right? Whipped out, my grandmother has whipped out and passed someone on the freeway and gotten a kick out of it, right? You know, what's the best part of a NASCAR race? I can't believe I said that word. The drag race to the finish line, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. This is the great American motorsport, and I refuse to continue to be anywhere but at the top of the totem pole that is motorsports or whatever. We deserve to be there, and I swear to God, we will be, okay? So anyways, if we're all working the same way, we'll get there or I'll die trying, all right? So thank you guys all so much.
Guys, I'll be here too so you can see the individual people.
And then let's take some pictures, everybody. All our 2018 class members, and then there's a whole bunch of
pro mod announcement coming soon.
Alumni here. So let's do a picture with all the class of 2018 folks, and then we'll do some with our alumni and everything else. Thank you guys again.
Steve Matusik's pro mod announcements coming up soon, and then we have the Midwest pro mod thing at the Drag Illustrated booth in just a little while. You guys can kind of see these.
School program.
Hi, I'm just going to squat down over your bike.
Please. Oh, and by the way, you're still doing donations?
Yes.
Okay, right when this is done.
Okay.
I was going to say, I got some for you too. Tighten it up, folks.
Oh, wait.
You're putting the cover guy to work?
He looks so normalishly dressed. See all of your 30 under 30?
Hey, yeah. People stop walking fast.
Stay farm. Team Warren Brown captains.
Blake's a bit tall to be up front.
I know.
All right, guys.
I think at this point Blake is running quite a bit of NHRA next year.
His dad.
Yeah, I got like all directions. One right, one left, one center. Look at these smiles.